Hi, Kate.
Oh, hey, what's up?
So,
like, we haven't been struggling to get this thing working.
I think we're finally recording.
I've been drinking tea and watching you struggle. It's been very entertaining for me.
Well, as my mug says, hold on and let me overthink this.
Mine's just Village Witch.
So I have to tell you, yesterday on the train home from New York City, I was thinking about all the things I was going to do to prepare for Friday at 9. And in my mind, my time-blind ADHD brain, I was picturing days and days and days of time to talk with Emmett and talk with Sam and talk with Kelly and get all the advice and buy equipment and download programs and sign up for subscriptions and plan an outfit. And then I realized today's Thursday. It's less than 24 hours away and none of that is going to happen. So I am astounded and very proud of us that we are on here and we are recording. I have no idea if we'll be able to upload this to YouTube, but that's a problem for later. Becca.
You're a badass bitch, and I think you should be very proud of yourself.
I think this afternoon, Beck will worry about YouTube, and today, right now, Beck will worry about talking to
Kate. Wisdom. Yes, worry about talking to me.
So would you like to tell our pretend audience that is probably like a sum total of 0 people why we are recording ourselves talking?
It's a sum total of 0 people at the moment. You never know. I got like 5 TikTok followers yesterday out of nowhere. I don't know what videos they're watching, and I haven't like posted anything in a week, and they're like, "We're gonna follow you." I'm like, "Good, thanks. Who are you? Why?" Why do I have, like,
maybe they're bots.
Followers. What are y'all looking at? I don't know. Anyways, so what? Okay, so yeah, so I was listening to a podcast. Now I don't even remember what it was called, but I'll reference it later. And the premise of the podcast was this question that, like, what does it mean to have your shit together? And I'm like, do I have my shit together? I have some of my shit together. I have adequate shit together. Like, what does that even mean? And they went on, and they're not Gen X like you and I are, darling. So they went on to like explore what it meant as millennials. And I'm like,
I was gonna say, boring. Can I guess? Were they millennials? We love you.
They were millennials, yeah.
Don't end the video if you're watching. We love you. You're the best.
We love you. You're wonderful. And I'm sorry for all the shit you have to go through. But we all go through shit, so it's fine. It's all of us. So we're all always going through shit. It's fine. But yeah, so I didn't have as much. I mean, it was interesting, but because I was like working, I was making stuff and sewing things and whatever I was doing. But what really got me to send you the question is that I'm like, what does it mean? Like, what were we raised to think it meant to have your shit together? What does success look like as we were growing up? What did our parents, point out, like, oh, that person's very successful, and like, when you grow up, you want to look like that person or whatever. And how does that compare to like the idea you formed in your head about how that would look? And because as I started thinking about it myself, I realized whatever my parents' idea was, I didn't pick up on it at all. Like, if they were trying to communicate their idea of success, I never picked up on it until they sat me down like right before high school graduation, and they're like, all right, listen, this is what we want you to do, and they're like, this is what being a responsible adult means. Here's a cake now. And I was like,
timely advice.
Really timely advice, right? And I was like, y'all, I already got my own plan. I don't know where you're
coming from. That's like if NASA
this.
Took some random people off the street, stuck them in the spaceship, and said, okay, now here's how you get to be an astronaut. 10, 9.
Right?
Okay, everything we just told you.
Put the helmet on. Put the helmet on. Yeah. And this is no offense to my parents. And it's quite possible, and in fact, likely, that they tried giving me advice, and it just, does it involve a dragon? Are there magical powers? Nope, then I'm probably not paying attention. No spaceship? Not listening. Yeah. So like,
sure, Dad.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'm reading a book right now. Yes, I
have
have
to
read
say,
Anne and Gable 7 times.
I've had that Kate listening to me before. I know exactly what she looks like and how she sounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
You kind of look off to the side sometimes and you pull your eyes back. Sorry, I have an itchy throat today.
That's okay. I'm busy contemplating whether or not I should be ashamed that you know what my not paying attention face looks like.
It just means that I've known you for as long as I can remember.
That's true.
I remember the first time I ever saw you. Did you know that?
No, tell me. I had to put like 6, 5, something.
I think it was probably May before I went to kindergarten. So you were in the very last month of kindergarten, and log was still over in this church that was like where Eminson Avenue and Route 40 met. I'm giving away too many of our details because we're so famous. We have so many stalkers. They're gonna find.
Yeah, I just made a TikTok like about an experience I had in Lamb of God. So whatever. People want to look it up and enjoy.
They were like renting the basement of a church. We were no permanent school.
We're at school. Whole school.
So my mom wanted me to get a tour before I went to school because that's what normal parents at normal schools do. But apparently Log did not have tours or orientation for kindergartners. So my mom just kind of broke into the school because this was like, 1980. I think it was probably May of 1980 if my math
probably.
Right. And, schools didn't have like, you need a badge, you have to buzz in, the doors were locked. You could just walk into schools in the 80s, right? Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, stranger danger, but come on into the school, whoever you are. And we like snuck in. I remember my brother John was in his little stroller. We walked down there, we snuck into the school and we peeked into the kindergarten and everybody was sitting on the circle time, like little mats, and Miss Littleton Peeper, whatever her name was at the time, was like reading you guys. I remember seeing you. I just remember you were the most memorable thing about that day. And I don't know why.
Either because that kindergarten classroom was cool and it had a bathtub in it that was filled with sand. I mean, I would think you would remember that over me, but.
Well, I wasn't allowed into the room because it wasn't a real tour. My mom just broke into the school, opened the kindergarten room and let me peek in so I'd know where I was going to school the next year. And of course, by the next year, we were in a completely different building.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
But I knew that there was Kate.
Kate was there. You'll see her again.
That was the one constant
for the rest of your life.
Constant Kate.
Constant Kate for the rest of your life. She will keep popping up. You cannot get rid of her, even when you live in different states.
So we got a little off track, but basically you asked me a question and my answer was, I'm not answering that unless we record our answer.
Yeah, you're like, let's do a podcast. And I'm like,
right.
Okay.
And then I quickly, over the past like 2 or 3 weeks, realized we don't have a podcast because it's really expensive and you need a lot of shit. And even just putting a video on YouTube with 2 people in a different location is really hard. And we didn't put a lot of thought or time or preparation into this. So if anyone's watching, we sound horrible and we have poor video quality and lighting. And guess what? We don't care because we're Gen Xers and we have total apathy, right? That's what we said earlier. Right. So, yes, thank you. We will never get monetized now, but that's not why we're doing this. I just wanted to record this conversation for posterity. Prosperity? That is monetizing it.
For prosperity. For prosperity and posterity.
So I thought a fun way to start, if this happens more than once, would be to have a quick check-in each week where we ask each other, did you have your
shit together?
Yeah. So, Kate, did you have your shit together this week?
I mean, yes, and also profoundly no.
Interesting.
Yeah. So in some ways, yes. In many ways, also no. How about you?
I like that dichotomy. You're not going to expound?
Oh, would you like me to?
Yeah. Give me like a 5-minute rundown of how you did and did not have your shit together this week.
Okay. The way in which I did not have my shit together is that it is April 16th, right? 15th? It's the 15th. It's April 15th.
Yes.
It's the 15th. And I haven't filed my taxes yet.
Holy shit. When we were talking about taxes earlier, I was so distracted by like apps and streaming and and payments and stuff that didn't even compute in my head. But of course, as we talked earlier, my time blindness, even if you had said it was the 15th and you hadn't done your taxes yet, it still might not have computed in my head. I still might have thought you had 3 months left to do your taxes.
I keep thinking that I do because I normally file in like January, but because everything is different and weird, I haven't yet because I'm intimidated, but I'm going to do it. If I don't, yeah, at some point I will do it today because I'm going to be very, very busy on Saturday and Sunday working at the Georgia Renaissance Festival. And when I'm done working and I drive home, which is like 45 to 90 minutes for real, I will be garbage brain. So yeah, so I need to get it done today. So that is a way in which I do not have my shit together. However,
Should we change this to a tax video and just do your taxes for everyone to have all your personal information?
that would be awesome. I'm sure everyone would love that. And I would pity anyone who got that personal information because what are you going to do with it?
Yeah,
All of that money that's not in my account.
And also, like, you can only make my credit score better. Please, take my
Right, yeah, please
make
my credit score better right now because it's a little bit garbage right now, which is for now. Manifest the abundance. So
that would be an interesting service. You could hire like hackers to be like white hat hackers instead of black hat hackers and just like, sort of Robin Hood our credit scores for us.
that would be glorious.
I don't even know. Are hackers the same as people who steal your identity? I sound like I'm 95.
I was gonna say, like, I have 1995 vocabulary for that, so I don't know how to contribute in a way that is valuable. So
okay, so not having your taxes done is a way that you don't have your shit together.
Correct.
Did I like zone out, like looking at my gorgeous face and miss how you do have your shit together?
No, I haven't been able to say that part yet.
Oh, okay, good. It's still
I've made a couple efforts, but they were in vain. So I'll do it now. So
okay.
Ways in which I do have my shit together is that even though I do not have insurance, I found ways to seek out medical care for my leg, which was giving me a lot of trouble all weekend because apparently the metal plate that's in my leg doesn't want to be there anymore. It's been there for 8 years, just fine. But now is the time for divorce. Right now.
I think it's how long my marriage lasted.
Yeah, I think mine started, it was definitely profoundly downhill by 8 years. And we were totally done just short of 10.
So it makes sense that the metal in your leg wants to leave now.
Yeah, it wants to go. It wants to leave. And so I got to a doctor. I got that taken care of. Like he gave me, steroids and whatever to calm it down because my leg was like, fuck everything. I'm like, okay, calm yourself. We can't just eject metal through the skin. Calm down. So it is currently calm and I can drive without pain, which is exciting because I'm a single mom and I have to, carpool and earn money and shit like that. And I got news about another medical thing that I also had to go through a lot of trouble to take care of. My girlfriends were really on my case to see what was up with my lady cycle. And now I know what's up. Apparently what's up is that I also need to use the uterus. It's just done. It is done here. So yeah. So, but so
you sent me a picture of a necklace and said that you were interested in keeping the metal in your leg.
Hell yeah.
Jewelry, but that they could keep your uterus because you were done with it.
I'm done with the uterus. Like I'm not making anything else with it. It's only giving me trouble. And in an attempt to contribute to my life, it has created like a grapefruit-sized fibroid, which is of no use to me. Thanks for trying. Love you. Time for us to part ways.
I am so sorry. And you know what? I bet you're in a ton of pain from that, but you don't even feel it because your ankle's been hurting so bad.
I mean, not really. Like I'm only in a ton of pain with it when I am menstruating. And I'm so used to that I just have over the past few years have like just sort of plotted my month around that. Like, okay, make sure I don't have a whole lot of massages to do on that day. Make sure that I don't schedule to go on a hike or something that day, the 2 or 3 days that I'm going to be not great. So
isn't it ridiculous that as women, we are like just accepting the fact that our body can attack us and put us in tremendous pain, like that would send the other, well, people without a cycle would just be like, if they felt that much pain, they'd be running for the ER, right? And we just,
Well, yeah.
and it's like the pain gets like the heat just turned up little by little, and we're just like, it's fine, it's fine. And you're like laying there in so much pain that like your friends have to tell you go to the doctor. I just, yeah, because we're told like you just have to suck it up. This is just part of having a uterus.
Honestly, I think I just hadn't taken care of it before because it's a pain in the ass to take care of it. And like
Doctors,
I figured, well,
are
it'll
so
go away.
hard.
Yeah, it'll go away. But like, yeah, people without uteruses have a very fine advantage, and I'd like to be one of those people. So if that's what the doc says in 2 weeks, because that's what I'm going to bring up and be like, before you say anything, doctor, let's make our best use of our time. Can we yeet the uterus? Just kick it out. Kick it out. It's not doing me any good. I am about to be 47 in 3 weeks. So if we could just, and can I have it back actually? Because I would like, not inside my body. If you could just take it out of my body and then give it to me in like a hazmat containment unit, that would be hard. I will give it a Viking funeral. You know, I'm going to build a little boat and set it on fire and probably get arrested for hazmat materials or something.
Plant it under a tree so it can make one last baby.
I kind of want to like sing it.
It really makes sense. I'm not sure how planting it under a tree makes one last baby. I was thinking more like the tree would be its baby, but that doesn't make any sense because the uterus is not the seed.
It'll grow a fibroid tree.
Grapefruit sized fibroids. Yummy, delicious.
You break them open and they're just grapefruit. I don't
In
know.
all seriousness though, I'm really sorry that that's happening, and I'm really proud of you for getting it taken care of. And like earlier I said, doctor's appointments are so hard, and you didn't even react because you understand that for people like us, doctor's appointments are insurmountable. You say that to a quote unquote normie and they're like, what are you talking about?
Like, what's the big deal?
Are you afraid of doctors? No, I'm not afraid of doctors. I love doctors. I am very pro doctor, and I love my personal doctor, and I feel better after I see her. And it's just so hard.
It's so hard to just make the appointment.
People who have brains that function. I don't even understand how hard it is to get the phone, to the phone number, to the ringing, to pushing the right button, to getting the person, to making the appointment. Like there's so many things just to make the appointment that can happen where the phone won't even be in my hand anymore. And I'll be out in the yard picking flowers or pulling weeds, and I won't even know how I got there. And like, this is,
this process started 6 months ago.
People make jokes about this all the time, but like, how does that even happen? How does that happen?
I have no idea. I'm off doing 5 different things and I've accomplished plenty, just not the thing I started doing. I don't even know what happened. And like this whole OBGYN process started back in November, like, and now it's April. Am I ashamed? Nah, whatever. This is my life.
No, and I got 5. That's awesome. I think that you getting a problem taken care of between November and April, I think that was very fast. I'm very proud.
Thank you. Thank you.
People like you and I, that was just, you were on it. You were on top of that from the get-go.
Yeah, that's right. This is me being on top of my own medical condition. Now, if it's my child, that's another story. I'll get it done in like 2 days, depending on what it is. Like if they're sick, I'll get it done. If it's like allergies for the allergy, I'm like, that will never happen. You're going to just deal with that for the rest of your life. I'm sorry.
I think considering everything this week, you had your shit together.
Thank you.
That's my final ruling.
I'll accept that. I will receive that energy.
Would you like to know if I had my shit together this week?
I would like to have had the opportunity to ask you, but since you were asking it for me, yes, I would like to know. Beck, have you had your shit together this week? Tell me.
You know, it's interesting you should ask that, Kate, out of nowhere.
Oh, really?
Oh, you know what?
Elaborate.
The other day, I was thinking when I was walking through New York City on my trip with my friend and her daughters for spring break, I was thinking how if we just had one more person like to talk to today, and her name was Sally, we could be Kate, Beck, and Sal.
One step closer to glory.
Sorry, that was super.
No, that's brilliant. I love Kate
That joke's
Beckinsale,
over.
actually. She's so fabulous.
How
She's
come we don't have any
fabulous, and,
friends
like,
named Sally?
she's so freaking she's hilarious. Have you followed her on Instagram? She's so funny. She's so sassy.
So if we ever get any viewers and your name is Sally, hit us up. Maybe we'll let you be on our show.
Right. So then we can be Kate Beckinsale.
Our show
The
that
three
at the
of us
moment
combined.
does not exist because we are literally just recording a Zoom call.
You know, I do know somebody named Sally. She was a roommate of mine in college. I could probably find her.
Cool.
God bless her. God bless Sally.
If this thing becomes a thing, maybe we can actually have a Kate Beckinsale episode, and that's what we'll name it, Kate Beckinsale.
And she won't be bothered at all. She'll probably be a guest star sometime.
Awesome. All right. So did I have my shit together this week? Again, yes and no. I guess the best example of that is I was at the train station on Monday morning, waiting to go to New York City with my friend and her high school aged daughters to have a fun spring break and show her girls what city life is really like, because they both think that they want to move there and or go to college there. And she wanted to let them, you know, they're these girls. I love them so much, Kate, but wow, she has done a very good job taking care of them. And let's just say the second we stepped out of the train station in New York City, with her mask still on, her daughter said, "Ew, it smells. Can we go somewhere else?" And I just laughed my head off and said, "Maybe that's New York
Welcome.
smelling. If you want to go away from that smell, we need to turn around and get on the train and go back home."
Because it's all going to smell like this, and sometimes worse.
So we had to stop at the credit union on the way to the train station on Monday morning to withdraw money from my credit union savings account so I could have money to go to New York City. So on the one hand, I didn't have my shit together because I had like no money in my checking account when I was about to leave for New York City. But also talk about the progress that I have a savings account to which I have no access because I have to drive into DC to access it Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 1:30. So I have to take time out of my work schedule because I can't even go on a day when I'm off work because, as you know, I'm a Fed and the credit union is closed on federal holidays. So if it's a federal holiday for me, it's a federal holiday for them. So
that sounds like a major pain in the.
It's easier for me to save my money when I can't ever touch it. And then it was sort of on the way to the train station. So I had money to get, you know, I screwed
support.
And a bunch of bills came out that I didn't, but see, that's another thing too. Like I have my shit together because the reason my checking account was empty was because bills got paid. Used to be, I had no, right? So we're sitting in the train station and I get a text message from my phone provider and it says, "Whoops, your payment is late. Would you like to set up a payment arrangement?" And I said, yes, because that's the way I pay my phone bill because there's no negative consequence. They don't charge me fees. And it's the only way I remember to do it. And it's easier that way. I honestly have no idea how to pay my phone bill if I don't get that text message with the link that takes me right to the bill pay. Like I've tried it before and it's really hard. And I don't understand why companies make it so hard for us to give them money.
Yeah, don't they want our money?
So easy. Why are you giving me like a 12-step security process to give you my money, Baltimore Gas and Electric? Don't you want my money? Like, why would I care if someone hacked into my BGE and paid you money on my behalf? Like, just let me give you my money.
Same.
So sorry.
Same with my water bill. I haven't paid it in 2 months because like I have to keep changing my password, even though it's like, why?
Yes.
Why? It's a $14 bill. Like what?
Your water bill is $14?
It was once. Yeah. It's up to 60 now. I'm like, can I please give you money? Please take my money. Just take it.
My water bill is quarterly, so it's 3 months at a time. But it's a lot more than 3 times 14, which I'm not going to say the answer to that because I want our viewers to be able to do their own mental math gymnastics, not because
I got it.
It's totally not because I'm bad at multiplication. I'm a math genius.
I was just going to say, I just got it because that's how long it took me because
my brain doesn't even go there. I'm just going to continue talking about words instead of numbers.
Why should I bother with numbers when I have a 10-year-old who's a math genius?
Exactly. So I get the text from T-Mobile. I click on the link. It's not loading. There's no signal. The train comes. I get on the train. It's not loading. Finally, it loads. I click on the Tuesday that I want it to pay, which is next Tuesday, the Tuesday after the day we're recording this, because that's the next time I get paid. And so we get to New York. I'm spending money. I'm treating my friend and her daughters to this. I'm treating them to that because I have plenty of money. And I wake up on Wednesday morning and T-Mobile has taken a huge amount of money out of my checking account because I picked the Tuesday that is behind us, not the Tuesday that is in front of us. And I know it's left to be in New York City for all of Wednesday and most of Thursday. And I have to send that $40 to my friend through Zelle in case there's any other bills coming out that I've forgotten about that might take me negative. So I at least can keep my $40, right? And tell her, I'll try not to spend more than 40, but you know, if I do, just let me know and I'll pay you back when we get paid, which of course she's not going to do. So I'll just send her like a couple more hundred on Tuesday. But yeah, so I both had my shit together in that I paid my T-Mobile bill, and I did not have my shit together in that I can't even use a calendar.
They're hard, okay?
I can't even use a fucking calendar.
They look like graph paper and they have numbers on them. So I support that, really.
Yeah. So that's a very short story long, as I like to say. And would you like to actually get to the reason why we're recording today, since we're 20 minutes into our hour?
Sure, yeah.
All right.
Or we can just continue to bullshit. That's fine too.
Well, no, but I'm really excited to talk to you about this because
me too. I'm curious. I want to know what your experience was.
Yeah, it's something I've been thinking about a whole lot. And it like for me, it relates so much to having attention deficit disorder, which I just think is so misunderstood. And it's just this like almost become like this jokey thing that people like to say they have when they just forget something in a normal way or feel distracted because the situation is actually distracting. I don't think they have a clue like how disabling it actually is and what complete and total fucking rock stars we are that we just power through each day and not end up homeless and like in jail. Because
it's true though.
Honestly, the way the society is set up, I'm amazed by my powers to interact with it because it is not set up the way my brain functions at all.
True story. True
Not
story.
to say that it would be a disability in a different situation. In a different situation, caveman times, even pioneer times, I would say it probably would have been an asset in those times. But
depends.
Since we live in these times, I will be discussing with you whether or not I have my shit together through the lens of today's day and age, which, you know, for a long time I thought.
And we can explore other ideas, but today.
Yes, today.
The lens of modern times.
So, you know, growing up, so I have a tendency, and I'm trying really hard to break this tendency, but I have a tendency to awfulize normal things and normalize awful things. So
many of us.
Back in my childhood, I do feel like it probably was a little harder than I give it credit. And my parents' expectations were probably a little higher than they should have been. But I was busy normalizing the awful. And so I don't know. I really feel like I was always probably disappointing my parents, and they probably thought I was never going to get my shit together. And so I think I felt that way too. You know, I think for my parents, having my shit together would have been doing better than they did. I think they wanted me to go to college, get a good job with insurance, pay my bills on time, and have money left over to do the things I wanted to do, like vacation, and own cars that didn't break down all the time.
What's that like? Weird.
Not have to have a baby at home because of not having insurance and the crappy doctors at the emergency room said you weren't ready to have the baby and you went home and had the baby at home.
Who was that?
My brother Frank was born in my canopy bed. That's why my canopy bed went away, because it was the only room in the house that had air conditioning.
Wow.
And my poor mom, the third kid, she knew she was in labor, but my dad quit his job or got fired or changed jobs. I don't know. You know, my dad had a different job all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It's so funny because now that he's retired, he still wants to work. He wants a part-time job, but he's retired, so he doesn't need the job. So now he's had so many jobs in the last 18 months. It's more than 18 jobs. I guarantee you he's had more than 18 jobs in the last 18 months. I know my ADHD has me exaggerate. I like to call it the Portuguese exaggeration gene and divide by 4 and you'll get the real answer. But no, my dad has been switching jobs faster than we can keep up. It's like a sitcom. It's ridiculous. It's like that character on the sitcom that every week they have a new job. That's my dad.
Well, he's gaining experience, I guess.
Or maybe he's just undiagnosed or untreated ADHD like me, and yeah,
living his best life, just trying different shit, I guess.
But he did have a lot of jobs when we were growing up, not 18 and 18 months, but you know, he changed frequently, and there was no Obamacare that said pregnancy is not a pre-existing condition. So every time he changed jobs and they changed insurance plans, if my mom was pregnant when that happened, they didn't have insurance for the baby. And if he got let go, or if he just decided to quit, they didn't have insurance for the baby until he found a new job. And
I think I remember knowing
one of those things happened. Huh?
I think I remember knowing that Frank was born at home. I think I just, in my mind, I thought, wow, that's so natural and brave and magical. And that's the way I want to do it one day.
Right? Like with a dual,
no idea. It was like
midwife and deep breathing. No, it was actually more my
gentle light,
screaming at my father to catch the baby's head and call 911, and my dad freaking the fuck out because that's a scary situation. And it was just trauma, I'm sure. And my poor brother Frank, that's just been the story of his life, right? But this is not a discussion about Frank. But sometimes I think back on that and I'm like, his very, very first moments in life were trauma.
Yeah.
Good.
Bless.
Speaking of which,
were you there at the time? Oh, look at you guys. You're so cute.
Frank is the baby in my lap.
Oh.
Yeah. And I look at that girl and I'm like, look at her. She's awesome.
She was so cute. I love you so much. I loved you from the very beginning. I don't remember a time not thinking you were awesome. Ever.
Well, I think right back at you. I remember you from the very first moment I saw you, and that doesn't happen with me and most people. So there's definitely something about you that caught my attention, and that is very hard to do. But my memory is not as good as yours, so I can't remember why.
Catching attention's not hard. Keeping it's different.
I wish I could remember, like, if you answered a question and I liked what you said, or if you I just can't remember. But anyway, maybe it was just like our souls calling to each other.
I think so.
There you are. I've been looking for you ever since I was born into this crazy life.
Seriously, our connection has stayed constant since we met. I mean, we've had periods in our adulthood where we don't talk for 6 months or whatever, but that 6 months
6 years
short when you're an adult, you know?
Yeah. No, but honestly, up until you sent me that message about do you have your shit together, I don't think we had talked in years. And we did a video call and we were talking like we had just seen each other yesterday.
Yeah, because that's how it is with us. That's how it's always been.
Yeah. So I guess that was my parents' idea of having your shit together. And so by those standards, I felt for a long time like I did not have my shit together for a very long time. I felt like, I got asked to leave college after my first semester because I had a 0.0 because I stopped going to classes and wasn't doing homework and didn't even take most of my finals. I just took my Psych 101 final because I loved that class so much. And it was one of the only ones I was sort of keeping up with. And the only reason I got a 0 grade point average in that class is because you had to go volunteer to be a subject for a certain amount of experiments and turn in the paperwork. And even though I went and volunteered for all of the fucking experiments, I could not keep track of the paperwork that I got signed by the experiment in, so I didn't get credit for doing it. So I got a 0 on the class.
That's so aggravating.
ADHD ruins the party again. Can you imagine how much easier it is to do something like that now when it's all right here in the palm of your hand? Yeah.
Amazing.
So anyway, I did that. I came home and was depressed and not working and had student loans and a credit card bill. And my poor mom, talk about uteruses, who had just like one summer she got divorced. The next summer they took out her uterus, and they did not do it gently in the 90s. She was on 6 weeks of bed rest as a single mom with no help, especially not from me.
Yikes.
Now, lied to her about where I was going. I have so much more compassion for my mom now. My poor mother. I love her so much. And then she, you know, moves me, her and Beck drive me 16 hours to Chicago with a station wagon full of shit, move me in, buy me stuff, take me around Chicago, treat me like a princess while I'm like, I think I slept through the whole trip. I didn't even do my turn driving the car. So I had to do all the driving, right? Because, oh my God, was I self-centered. And then I just flunk out and come home with all these bills and sleep all day. And I'm not even like looking for a job. And she finds me a job at her school, and it goes great for a while. I was a one-on-one aide for a girl who had cerebral palsy, and I wanted to be a special ed teacher. So it was perfect. They kept me working on what I wanted to do in college. And I just start calling out because I don't feel like going to work because I stayed up too late. And my time-blind ADHD brain of I'll just do it this one time isn't adding up that I've done it like 6 times in a row now. And this girl doesn't have her aid. And the school is like, we don't want to have to fire her. Can you please tell her to quit? To my poor mom, who's only worked at this job for 2 years. Right? So, by the way, the sparkles that are all over your face and room are so pretty.
Oh, I just played with this thing. I wasn't even looking. I'm just watching your face.
So from there, it only gets better, right? I get a job in Mexico. I start calling out there. They put me on probation. That scares me enough that finally I get my shit together with not calling out of work anymore. I start paying my bills back, and I get knocked up with a guy that I've only known 6 months. And my mom, she was so done with me. And every time I say this, she's so upset because she feels so bad that she did this, but it was the best thing she ever did. Mike lived right down the street from my mom. He didn't when we met, but through like a very, we don't need to go into the fun details of that right now, but through a series of my ADHD entering his life when we'd only known each other a very short while, he couldn't pay his rent because I lost his paycheck when I went to pick.
Oh no!
Why did he ever marry me? Anyway, yada, 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 yada. Through no fault of his own. He told his apartment complex what was going on. They said it was fine. They put an eviction notice on his door anyway. That pissed him off. He decided he was moving. He moved down the street from my mom where I lived. So I've been pregnant for, I think, 3 months, and she was done. She was done. And on my 19th birthday, my 20th birthday, her and my brothers just started carrying my shit down to Mike's house.
Happy birthday.
And they were like, you live with him now.
We're having boundaries.
He lived in this tiny little row house with 3 boys, 3 bedrooms, and I was taking up one of them. And she needed that bedroom for one of my brothers at least, because now she had like an elementary schooler, a middle schooler, and a high schooler all in the same bedroom in bunk beds with a trundle, and she needed that goddamn room. And I'm so proud of her that she had the strength to do that, because that was awesome and epic, and that was fantastic parenting. So then I spent the rest of my 20s and 30s obsessed with making sure it looked like I had my shit together. Yeah, I messed up and got knocked up, but I'm going to be the best fucking mom you've ever seen. And I'm going to marry this guy. It doesn't matter if I love him or not. I'm going to marry him, and we're going to be a family, and we're going to have 2 more kids, and we're going to move to the suburbs. We're going to buy a house. I'm going to plant flowers. I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm going to volunteer in all the classrooms. I'm going to go on all the field trips. I'm going to make things from scratch, even though I hate cooking and baking. And we're going to do Play-Doh every day. And I have my shit together. Well, I had my shit together out here, but in here and in here, I did not have my shit together at all. And the rest of the story, I started drinking, and my marriage fell apart, and in a very messy way that hurt a lot of people. by things that I did. And I ended up divorced, single mom, living in a tiny little 2-bedroom apartment with 3 kids, one in elementary school, one in middle school, and one in high school. This is where that's where I start getting compassion for my mom. Well, not quite yet, because I'm still drinking heavily. It got to the point where I was drinking every day. And every morning I would wake up hungover and I would say, you know, this is just a bad habit that developed because I've been so stressed. And
that's not wrong.
You know, I'm really bad at breaking bad habits, and I just have to get one day without drinking and I'll be fine. I'll be back on track. I'll just drink, you know, parties and special occasions, out to eat, blah, blah, blah. And every night on the way home from work, my car would just go right to the liquor store and I would buy more alcohol. And it didn't matter what I bought, how much, how little. It didn't matter if it was the hard stuff or if it was just beer and wine, whatever it was, I would drink it all before I fell asleep that night. When I said fell asleep, I really mean pass out on the couch while my kids were still awake. And luckily for me, I went full on psycho crazy ex-girlfriend with the guy that I dated. No, I didn't date him. The guy I took hostage after my divorce. I took someone hostage. Okay, let's be honest. It's the reason that my marriage fell apart. I took him hostage before I got divorced. 6 months before my then husband knew I had taken a new hostage. I had 6 months where I had 2 hostages, my husband and this other man, these poor men. And
I think you're being a little hard on yourself, but I understand why.
Oh no, we can talk more about this later, but this is more like for an AA meeting than a fun thing about do you have your shit together? Because December 28th, 2012, I lost my shit all over this man's yard in the form of throwing recycling all over his yard, keying his vehicle and someone else's vehicle and hitting them with my hands, trying to dent them and break windows because I was legit crazy and had no shit together and gave no shits, and shit was everywhere. And the last thing I did was run over the mailbox and go home. And the next day there were cops at my house and I got 2 citations for malicious destruction of property, not just destruction of property, malicious destruction of property, and 2 peace orders. The 1 peace order, let me just say, was for someone whose name I didn't even know until they handed me the peace order for her because we had never met. That's got to be like an accomplishment, right? Can't I get like some sort of like Girl Scout badge for that? It's like a peace order against you from a person you've never met and have no idea where they live or what they look like. Yeah, that was
really lived if you've never gotten a peace order from someone you've never known.
Yeah, exactly. But my thinking at the time was Carrie Underwood has a whole song about it, so it can't be that illegal if Carrie Underwood can sing about it, right?
Sure.
Video where she does it with a baseball bat. I didn't even have a baseball bat or a knife. So I definitely did not have my shit together. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I went to my first AA meeting, and it's been 9 years now. It's been 9 years of getting my shit together. And it's funny because to me, what having my shit together means has completely changed. To me, having my shit together means I don't live in fear of anything. I stay in the moment and I trust the process. And you know, I don't know if you know this. I think you know this. I still get a little like, ugh, when I talk about God, like it still kind of makes my skin crawl because of that crazy religious upbringing that we had and becoming an atheist in my 20s. But everyone knows the requirement of AA is having a higher power. So I have found a higher power. I still feel kind of creeped out when I talk about it, but I have turned my will and my life over to a power greater than myself as the program requires. And I am taken care of. For the first time in my life, I always feel safe and loved, no matter what's happening. The night that we got home from the grocery store and the house was on fire, I felt safe and loved and knew everything was going to be okay. The day the mechanic called and said that my dream car that I'd only been making payments on for 2 years had blown a head gasket and I needed to get a new car, I felt safe and loved. And I have to tell you, like, it doesn't matter what life throws at me now. It doesn't matter, like, if I own anything or what people think of me or anything, as long as I know that my will and my life is not in my control and that everything is happening the way it's supposed to happen, and that everything that happens to me every day is either a lesson or a blessing, I feel like I have my shit together. I just go along with this crazy life and I just like see what happens. And if people get mad, I have to look. Did I do something that made them mad? Can I fix it? Okay. I didn't. Okay. Let it go. Nothing I can do about it. And it just is such a better way to life. And here is the funniest part of it. When I changed the way I was living my life, guys, I swear this is not an AA. I'm not trying to make people go to AA. This is just me. This is my story. This is the way I live my life. Everybody can live their life however they want to live it. But when I started living my life that way, I got the job. I got the promotions. I got the raises. I got the friends. I got the awards. I bought a house. I bought a car. The credit score went up. So now I'm living the life of having my shit together that my parents envisioned as having your shit together. So now I have both. I have the real way of having my shit together and the way that my parents wanted me to have my shit together. And that is the craziest part of it.
That is the craziest part, because you came at it in your own way and from your own direction, and it still happened. But it happened as a consequence of you finding your own way of having your shit together.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that doesn't help non-alcoholics at all, because like, you know, somebody tuned into this to figure out how to get their shit together and they're like, well, I'm not an alcoholic, I can't go to AA. Well, I'm sorry, man. This is my turn to talk. You'll have to find another person to listen to.
The things you learn from AA are helpful to anybody. They're just
they're pretty universal. They are. And Bill W. didn't make this shit up. He got it from Emmett Fox, who was a scientist who studied, I always get it wrong. He was an engineer. He was very interested in, I think, metaphysics. And so he approached God from like a scientific point of view, like science and God is one. And you should look into Emmett Fox. He's pretty amazing. He's something that I think everybody could unite behind. I don't know that much about him. I might be saying something that's offending somebody, and I'm sorry if I am, but also I'm Gen X, so also I kind of just don't care if you're offended. Nobody ever cared if I was offended, so you'll be okay.
Or if you're offended,
really
feel free to educate us a little bit and as to why we should also be offended.
Well, he has this thing called Sermon on the Mount, and I've heard people in AA talk about it, and I've never actually listened to it, but it's pretty life-changing. And, you know, it's Bill W. started in the Oxford group, and the Oxford group studied, you know, Emmett Fox and his teachings. And I don't know, it's just like, it's partially Buddhist, you know, it's partially that, you know, be in the moment, accept things exactly the way they are. But, you know, also, if it's you that needs changing, don't accept things the way they are. Change yourself to fit the situation. Live life on life's terms. And I never did that before. I always thought life had to change for me. In order for me to feel safe and happy and loved, I needed things to be a certain way. And it didn't matter like how close I got to that idea. I never felt safer or more loved or more happy. And so I guess that's kind of what I mean by taking hostages. And I would say that our friend Beck, I think she was the first hostage that I took. Hi, Shion. Say hello to everyone. Hi, she's our little diva. She likes to be on screen. Oh, look, there's another black cat. Look at that. Oh my gosh, her eyes are so big. She sees it.
Her eyes are huge.
She's not purring. So, I mean, Beck used to have to keep it a secret when she played with other people because I would get jealous. She wanted to hang out with Liz Duramo, and I'm talking like kindergarten.
No, I remember, Beck. I remember, okay?
Oh, okay. So that's what I mean. Like, and it didn't matter. Like, she could plan the best birthday party for me ever, and I would still find a way to be disappointed in it. And it wasn't enough. It was like, I had this big gaping hole in me that needed filling. And I tried to fill it with people, and they could not give me enough love to fill it. And it was almost like the more love you gave me, the more empty I felt, the more I needed from you, the more I was disappointed with you. These poor men in my life were like, going above and beyond. Like, it didn't matter how many times he said, I love you, or how many times he told me I was beautiful, or how many trips he took me on, or how many, it was always, he didn't do it right. It wasn't the right trip. I didn't believe him when he said it. He didn't say it fast enough. Like, oh, when I think about it, I'm exhausted. I can't imagine what it was like for them to live it. So also, ADHD makes me very hyper aware of everything, every sound, every sight. And although I have a really bad memory for paying my bills on time or people's names, I have a really good memory for like really stupid stuff that doesn't matter, stuff that I've seen. So like, I don't know if you've seen the show Psych, right?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, you would love it. You have to watch it. It's the funniest take on Sherlock Holmes ever. It's this guy, Sean Spencer, whose dad is a cop, and he teaches his son to notice everything around him at all times and put all the clues together. And so he becomes like this detective, but he's calling in tips to the cops because he's not an actual detective. He's like a loser, like me, like sleeping on a couch. Not like I am now, like I was when I was the age that Sean Spencer is when the show starts. And he sees a newscast, right? And he puts together some things he sees in the footage, and he calls the cops with a tip, and they bring him in to interrogate him because how could he have possibly solved the crime, right? So he pretends he's psychic. That's why it's called Psych.
I like that premise.
It's a double entendre of like psychic and like psych.
And psych. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and I love it because him and his friend are totally our age. So it's all our references from our childhood. Yeah.
Nice.
So he has this thing he does in the show where like they have this like sound effect and this noise where like the thing he notices will like light up. My brain does that all the time. And I will put clues together, and I will know when you're giving me a baby shower, and I will know what you bought me for Christmas. And you just can't surprise me. My brain just does it, whether I try to or not. And like, this can be very exhausting if you're a husband or a boyfriend, because I'm like, I know that you went to Hooters for lunch, and I know what you ordered, and I know how much you tipped the waitress, and I'm mad about it, and I'm jealous, and I'm holding it against you. And the suspicion and jealousy part of it, that would have been enough for anyone to be like, why am I with this crazy bitch? Sometimes I had friends that would be like, why is he still with you? You must have like a magical vagina or something. And I can't think of what else it must have been. I did see on 30 Rock this one episode, Jennifer Aniston comes in and guest stars as Tina Fey's friend from college. And she's crazy. She's psycho. And Jack Donaghy, played by Alec Baldwin at one point, says to Liz Lemon, you don't understand. Crazy women are really great at sex. And I was like, that must have been what it was. So
I remember
crazy. I'm not that excited to get into a bed with a man because I'm probably not as good at sex anymore.
You're healthier now. So that's how we're equating.
Oh, I am a catch. I'm totally a catch as a girlfriend now. I'd be the best girlfriend ever, which, I sort of am dating someone for the first time. And probably, I dated someone once in sobriety, but it was only 3 months and we didn't really sleep together. So I don't know if it counts, but we went on dates every weekend for 3 months. Can you believe that I dated a guy for 3 months and I didn't sleep with him? I slept with guys that I met at a bar 5 minutes after I met them, and I still don't know what their name was or remember what they look like. Right?
That's kind of blow my mind a little bit, but progress,
Right. Yeah. So anyway, there's this guy, probably the first guy I've really considered like dating since I got sober. Well, I did date somebody the first 3 months of my sobriety. After that, no dating for like 9 years now, dating a guy. I just think he's the luckiest guy in the world because I'm a total catch. And I'm pretty lucky too, because I think he's got his shit together too, in both ways, in the ways that look good on paper and in the ways that look good here and here. So yeah, I forget why I brought that up. Squirrel.
Well, just maybe like bringing the all-encompassing, like, this is how I have my shit together. And
we haven't slept together yet, and I might not be that good in bed, but I'm like a really chill girlfriend because I have a very busy, full life. So if you don't text me back, I don't even notice. I'm not going to be like, are you mad at me? Why aren't you texting me back? Call me right now.
But that's such a big difference for you from how you used to be. So that's pretty huge, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah.
I'm content. My whole
So
36 years, I was discontent. And now I am fully content. Even when things go wrong. I'm not saying I never get angry or stressed out, but it just doesn't last that long.
yeah.
I remember like, oh, everything's fine. I don't do this anymore. And I just let it go. So
Yeah.
did that answer your question? Did you have any follow-up questions? Was that TMI?
Girl, TMI to me? No. Tell me about like, you know, your discharge today. Like, how's that doing? That's fine. Yeah, how are your poops lately? No, you're fine. That was definitely not TMI. That was a lot of information, but that
Yeah.
was
It was kind of like
yeah.
a story in a nutshell.
And I've been aware of a lot of chunks of that story,
Yeah.
but you know, it was still that's a journey, Beck.
And I really thought I would go way more into detail with it. Like I thought I would spend like an entire episode telling you what it was like growing up with poor parents that couldn't make ends meet. And sometimes we had money and sometimes we didn't. And sometimes people left checks of money on, you know, envelopes of money or checks on our doorstep or bags of groceries, or, you know, like the year that St. Tim's, the school I went to, picked my family for their angel tree project. Like,
I remember that.
yeah. Yeah. And like
remember
so much of my definition of having my shit together had to do with my mom's own shame at her own life. And you know, I think I don't want to speak for other people, but I think my mom now, I think she got her shit together on paper a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that lately she's gotten her shit together where it matters also. I'm really happy for her.
That's brilliant. That's really great to see.
So what do you think having your shit together would mean for your kids? Or is that something we should save for a whole nother episode? Because I worry that I do the same thing to my kids that my parents did to me, even though I'm trying to do it differently.
Well, I mean, however, if that's where you want to take the conversation, that's fine.
I guess we shouldn't. We should save that for another episode because, you know, if we're going to keep this at an hour, we have 9 minutes left and it might be time to like figure out how to end this thing.
Right.
But yeah, that's something that we could think about. What do we do for our kids is having their shit together? And how have we put maybe pressure on them the same way our parents put on us?
I do wonder about that. And I wonder if I haven't put enough pressure or right kind of pressure, because my parents, I remember at some point my parents just kind of like gave up scholastically. They're like, you're just not a great student with math, so we're just going to give up altogether because we've got bigger fish to fry, because I have younger siblings that were, by which I mostly mean my next younger brother, who were just really just, there was a lot going on. And so they sort of, at least from my memory and perspective, which is questionable, sort of dropped the ball on what any kind, like even scholastic expectations. Like I even remember when I was, you know, talking about what college I want to try to go to. And I was going to, you know, bring my portfolio to Boston Institute of Art. And I wanted to bring my portfolio to Memphis College of Art and see, you know, and I think there was one other, Maryland Institute, but I didn't really want to go to Maryland Institute because I didn't want to stay in Maryland. I wanted to just leave as soon as I could go, just get out, you know. And it, like my parents' response was like, well, your academics aren't great and we're poor, so you're probably not going to go to college. And you're probably not going to go to Europe. Because that was like my other thing was like, I'm going to backpack Europe. I'm going to do this, you know, and they're like, probably not. You should get a waitressing job and get a car. And I'm like, why should I? Well, that was their idea of what it meant to be responsible. And that's what they were trying to do. But you know how it works with me. If you tell me I can't do a thing, I'm going to spend the next rest of my life proving you wrong because I'm stubborn.
Hey, you cannot have a successful YouTube channel with me.
No,
No,
really? Well then, I will show you. Lord, I went to 1, 2, 3. I've been to 3 colleges and a trade school, and I've been to Europe twice.
Nice.
And it's not because, like, yes, it was to prove them wrong, but it was also because that's what I wanted to do. That's what success meant to me, was fulfilling my dreams. That's what it meant to me, and that's what I went after. And I just didn't pay any attention to anything else
Well,
as I was doing those things.
I'm going to stop you right there and leave that as a sneak preview for next week, because I need to know how you got that inner motivation or knowledge, or just how did you come to that? Like, success for me is fulfilling my dreams, because for me, I just always grew up knowing like dreams are not achievable and you can have them, but they're not going to happen. So you might as well just be realistic. So I want to know, that's what I want to talk about next Friday when we do this. I want to talk about, how did that happen for you? That was your definition, and you knew that you could do it. I cannot wait to hear about that. So until then, keep your shit together.
Keep your shit together.
Bye.
Bye.